My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, titled Feelings Beyond Dreams, was released on Monday, March 31, 2025. Hey, race the summary before starting the video. The episode saw Kiyoka Kudo confront Naoshi Yuzui, who demonstrated his supernatural abilities to corner the commander. When Kiyoka was reeling in a nightmare, Miyo stepped in and used her dream sight powers. My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, which happens to be the penultimate episode of the season, chiefly focused on Miyo Saimori's unyielding resolve against an enemy whom she desperately wanted to change. The episode also resolved the main conflict in a bittersweet manner. Picking up the events from the previous episode, let's start the episode. The episode 12 begins with Naoshi Yuzui commending Miyo for awakening her dream sight powers and venturing into his castle. Miyo says that she hasn't come to ensure Naoshi can make his ideal world. Rather, she wants to stop him. Naoshi Yuzui realizes that Miyo hasn't learned from the past. Thus, he thinks that Miyo must be punished. Kiyoka Kudo stands in front of Miyo to shield her. Episode 12 then shows a confrontation between Naoshi Yuzui and Kiyoka. The former demonstrates his ocular abilities to send a flock of crows at Kiyoka, who wonders whether it's an illusion or reality. Suddenly, he observes Naoshi charging at him out of nowhere with a medium-sized dagger. Kiyoka quickly blocks the blade and goes for a counterattack. However, Naoshi Yuzui keeps up with Kiyoka, anticipating his every move. As Kiyoka Kudo clashes his blade with Naoshi Yuzui, he observes that his enemy has another blade in his other hand. Episode 12 then shows Naoshi slashing Kiyoka's chest with another dagger. Naoshi Yuzui's attack leaves Kiyoka bleeding. However, he soon realizes that it's not an actual wound. Rather, it's another illusion created by Naoshi Yuzui. Kiyoka Kudo cannot believe that his enemy can control others' minds as well. Naoshi Yuzui's attack in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12 leaves Kiyoka's subconscious mind gasping for breath. Naoshi mentions how the illusion born from Kiyoka's own distorted thoughts will be his end. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori desperately wants to step in and stop the fight. However, Arata Yusuba stops Miyo by pointing a gun at her. Elsewhere, in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, Yoshido Goto and others defeat the brainwashed soldiers and the gifted communion members. Just then, one of his comrades arrives at the location to inform him that their squad has found Mikado's whereabouts. Mikado is confined on the top of the abandoned former official residence. As such, he heads to the location, leaving Tadakio and others at the castle. Tadakio Kudo tells Yoshido that he must go and carry out his duty. Elsewhere, Kiyoka Kudo fights back the psychological pain with sheer determination. He demonstrates his supernatural abilities to release thunder toward Naoshi Yuzui, who effortlessly evades the attack and charges at Kiyoka with his dagger. As Kiyoka blocks the dagger, he realizes that it's only an illusion. The real dagger is on Naoshi's other hand, which he uses to mildly slash Kiyoka's feet. Naoshi's repeated illusions corner Kiyoka. As such, he changes his plan. He lunges forward to strike Naoshi down. The gifted communion's leader shifts to the other side to plunge the knife down into Kiyoka's back. However, this is exactly what Kiyoka wanted. Anticipating the move, he uses his fire abilities to throw Naoshi off guard. Yet, it's not enough to defeat his enemy, as Naoshi uses a shield to block the flames. Episode 12 then shows Naoshi Yuzui's real strength, as he plunges Kiyoka into a horrifying nightmare. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori wants to go and help her fiancé. However, Arata doesn't allow her to go. At this moment in My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12, Miyo Saimori confronts a vision of the future where Arata and Naoshi Yuzui die. On the other side, Kiyoka Kudo is confined to a nightmarish loop where Miyo Saimori repeatedly dies at the hands of a terrifying grotesquerie. What's worse, he can only watch the horror unfold and cannot do anything to protect his fiancé. As Kiyoka Kudo suffers from an unimaginable psychological pain, Miyo Saimori steps in. She demonstrates her powers as the Dream Sight Maiden to change the environment of Kiyoka's hell into a heavenly abode. Interestingly, Arata Yusuba and Naoshi Yuzui are also in the dreamscape with Kiyoka and Miyo. Episode 12 then focuses on Miyo Saimori, who confronts Naoshi Yuzui with a determined will. She wants Naoshi to change his ways and stop inflicting pain on others. Miyo reminds him about his past with her mother, including that she, Sumi, wouldn't have wanted to see Naoshi tread on such a path. Yet, Naoshi Yuzui remains determined to follow his own ideals. He thinks a world without Sumi is a world to be destroyed. At this moment, Miyo slaps Naoshi Yuzui to remind him more about the past he shared with Sumi. However, in response, Naoshi envelopes the dreamscape with darkness. Episode 12, Sumi Saimori's visage descends to the land. Her arrival ushers in light to dispel the darkness pervading the dreamland. Naoshi Yuzui is transfixed by Sumi's visage. Even though he's overjoyed to see her, Sumi's face displays no smile. Sumi doesn't show any emotion because Naoshi Yuzui has hurt her family. Yet, at the same time, he recognizes that he's also her family. That's why she wants the man to stop his evil deeds and join him. However, Naoshi Yuzui mentions how protecting Sumi's smile was everything he cherished in his life. Since Sumi is no longer alive, he wants to destroy the world, which now has no meaning to him. For a while, Sumi doesn't say anything. She breaks her silence by releasing Naoshi from his duty as her protective sword and asking him to join her. However, Naoshi has had enough. He picks up his dagger and plunges it into his chest to break free from the dreamscape. As the dream world collapses, Miyo finds herself trapped in a strange environment, with clocks surrounding her. Miyo then hears Sumi's voice telling her that the gears of a new era have begun to turn. She assures her that everything will be fine. Sumi also commends Miyo for her effort. After regaining consciousness, Miyo Saimori discovers Naoshi Yuzui in an injured state, trying to go after Kiyoka. However, his illusions fail. Arata Yusaba points his gun at Naoshi. Arata fires the bullet at the same time as Naoshi throws his dagger at him. The bullet pierces through Naoshi's chest, while the dagger plunges into Arata's body. Horrified, Miyo goes to check on Arata. Meanwhile, Kiyoka Kudo shouts for a medic. As for Naoshi, he slowly loses his consciousness. In his last moments, Naoshi Yuzui sees Sumi's visage, who extends her hand toward him. Just like their childhood days, Naoshi joins Sumi on a walk. Yet this time, it's the walk to the afterlife. After some time, the medic arrives and takes the injured Arata Yusaba away. On the other hand, Kiyoka confirms Naoshi Yuzui's death. Meanwhile, Miyo Saimori, in a teary voice, questions the existence of the supernatural abilities, as she cannot understand how people can fight for power and hurt others. Even though she could change the future with her ability, she laments that she couldn't protect her mother's wish. Kiyoka Kudo then hugs Miyo and tells her that she has done everything that she could. My Happy Marriage Season 2 Episode 12 ends with Kiyoka and Miyo meeting Yoshito and others outside after the horrific trial.